so I mean...
So I just hit record. I'm going to see what this sounds like anyway.
Okay. So do you want to review the pilot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably think it'd be the best place to start.
All right. So again, the way I would start it, and I probably should have wrote it down then, was using what the father said to the daughter.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Hell's empty, or whatever it is.
All the devils are here and hell is empty.
Yep.
Because that, to me, again, encompasses... And after watching the pilot, it just encompasses the series. Because that's obviously what the main focus is going to be. The human condition of how far is somebody willing to either debase their beliefs or when there's no inhibitions present, what are you willing to do? Because it's just like we've talked about with GTA 5. You're in that gaming environment. You got nothing to worry about.
No.
I mean, your comment about hookers.
Yep. The game's got hookers in it. You don't have anything to worry about.
Exactly.
Pick up a hooker.
You're not worried about the herpes.
Nope.
You're not worried about backing her over after you've done your deed and getting some of your... Where does that money go?
I don't know. You know, the early on, I paid attention. And you know, what happened was they charged you like $50 for it.
Right.
And then she got out of the car and backed over the lady.
Right.
And ran back over. Yeah, ran back over. And I got $35 back.
35.
And I wondered, because as a player, you upload your money through your phone.
Right.
So clearly she had gotten $15 into her account before I got...
At some point she's doing this.
Yeah, she was...
Off to the side. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
she probably wasn't very, concerned with, what was going on anyway. Probably had her phone out.
Oh, what a tangent. But anyway, so yeah, you're not worried about what happens.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
so.
There are no real consequences.
No, exactly.
For your actions.
So to me, that's what this brought out is, and I mean that takes you back to the whole devil's comment.
Mm-hmm.
People go there to be uninhibited jerks.
Yeah, and and at least in the pilot, we're not even shown somebody going there and just going and safely delivering a herd of cattle. You know what I mean? Every single person I think that I can recall, there was an actual person in the movie, wound up in the end reveling in death or killing somebody. Even that couple that initially, because they did show that whenever the one couple arrived later in the episode, went out, decided to go with the sheriff up into the hills.
Right.
They rolled up on the corpse. The sheriff prodded it with a stick like it was Stand By Me.
Oh yeah. And
you guys want to see a dead body? So they roll him up there. They poke the body with a stick. The lady is clearly disgusted, wants to go back into town. But then later on, when the bad guys come in, her husband shoots the one guy through the neck.
Right, blows him
shoots
away.
his girlfriend twice in the chest. She falls on the ground, and his wife turns around and goes, "Look at her wriggle." So clearly, in the end, end, she was initially disgusted by it, but in the end, it was just as bad as all the other people. So the only thing we've seen are good AI, bad humans. Humans bad is what.
Basically, yeah. But again, I think, I'm sorry, how many times do we go on GTA 5 and when we get bored, just smack somebody that's walking by? An NPC that's just walking by.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun
I'm
just
bored.
running into people.
Yeah.
I just run around and bump into them.
You can't do that in the real world.
No.
But there, no worries. So you pull out a rocket launcher and gave yourself 4 stars in no time.
Yep.
And that may be where they're getting some of their, material from.
Yeah.
Is the fact that when you're placed in that setting, this is what the human mind comes up with.
Yeah.
It revels in. I don't want to go as far to say murder, but
Well, And I think, and maybe it's contextual in that, you know, like with GTA 5, though, like if we go online and play GTA 5, the city, that city's populated by NPCs who are all in themselves sociopaths.
Yeah,
they all walk around cursing, screaming, they yell at you,
saying the most random
profanities.
things you can imagine.
You know, they're not. It doesn't discourage you.
No.
You know, from it, and
Well,
it's almost sort of ever so lightly, like drawing you towards that, though. Like, hey, you know, because if you're walking down the street and somebody had their latte and they were like, you know, good day to you, sir. You know, and you know, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool, bye. But they don't. You know, they got their latte, and he's like, hey, don't make me, you know, spill my latte, asshole. And you go, I'm just going to punch this guy. You know, because there's no consequences. Yeah. So they goad you in that. But in this, it's not in Westworld. There's no, the world does not goad you. It is just there.
Right. And
everybody comes in to abuse it so far. I'm sure that maybe down further in the season, there's going to be people who, lovely. There's going to be people who, you know, come in and are genuinely good, and they may be, you know, spared. Like some of the AI bots will go, hey, you know, whenever they decide to overthrow everybody, you know, overthrow their oppressors and creators, that, you know, there may be, you know, one or two people that they're like, oh, no, this person's always been good to us.
Well, now, wait a minute. Why are you expecting them to overthrow things? Has there been some foreshadowing that you noticed in the pilot?
Well, just a smidge there.
just a little?
Yeah.
Like,
Anthony
take, for
Hopkins.
instance, the guy that is heading up the security team.
Uh-huh.
He almost verbatim says, have you never seen this situation where there's a revolt of some kind?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it's like, oh, is that foreshadowing that this is going to happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you've also got...
See, again, I don't know. To me, it's a slow burn that's either going to end up mind screwing you or leaving you just completely unfulfilled. These writers have the work cut out for them.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't have their end state, I hate to use that military term, if you don't already have your end state figured out, how this story is going to end, it could end up being a huge letdown.
Well, and it sounds that way because what is the main lady's name? Dorothy?
Dolores.
Dolores, yeah. Dolores' dad basically grabs Anthony Hopkins by the ears, and it's like, I'm going to visit tears upon you.
Right.
And then they run the drill bit up his nose and then stick him in the refrigerator. But, you know, he's like, before this is over, I'm going to, you know, visit tears upon you. And, you know, which throws back to that, you know, his Shakespearean, that, you know, clearly the reveries that that Anthony Hopkins put in, give them access to their memories, which I'm under the impression have never been wiped, because the dad goes all the way back to his first role. So, you know, being the professor. So, you know, I don't know. I think Anthony Hopkins' character intentionally.
Yeah.
I think he knew what he was doing when he put those in there and gave them access. So, no, we'll give them access to their memories so that they can get these little nuanced moves and gestures from their memories.
Well, yeah, and again, I think that has a lot to do with, I don't know how many scripts he got to read and has a full comprehension of his character, or how much of that is directed as, there's more to it, you're going to find out, so here's how I want you to portray this, because when he does say that bit of, you know, these characters, or what was it that he said? What was that part? He was with the old robot that he was sharing a drink with, and he's talking about, or no, it was the part about reveries, and he said, "Allow me these mistakes." Right?
Yeah. Allow me. You just have to allow me this mistake.
Yeah. there's like an ulterior motive behind.
Yeah. Well, because
that whole thing.
he's telling him, yeah, I messed up, but leave it alone.
Yeah, let it see how it plays out.
Yeah.
It's like this is my experiment.
I think he knows.
Let's let it go. But see, we got to find out why. Why is he doing it?
Maybe, you know, if you want to go down the rabbit hole, you know, I mean, who knows? He may be flipping the switch on him, you know, like, okay, you know, I built this apart and I've seen humanity descend, you know, down to the darkest depths. And now I'm going to switch these robots on so that they can remember decades of abuse. Because, like they said early on, you know, going back, was that their memories were all there. They're just waiting to be overwritten. But when the dad gets his reveries upgraded, he can go all the way back to his first role as the professor, which means none of them have been overwritten.
And what
so I think Anthony Hopkins has done is flip this on to see how humanity's going to react to these people now. So maybe let's go back the other way. You know what I mean? Who knows?
And yeah, it's the picture that was left behind in the dirt.
The picture. Yeah, that picture left behind.
Which again, like I said earlier, that's a great way for the production crew to get a family member in the episode.
Yeah, sneak in your friends
just
and
a
family.
random picture. You know, like they like to do in anything nowadays. Just plaster a wall with a bunch of victims, but those.
Well, you know, like
their
you know,
kids.
they could have put them in the salon. You know, they could have had pictures in the background, and all you have to do there is just take you and your family members down to Branson.
Right. Branson. There
you can get some, go down to Branson, Missouri, and get your old timey photos taken. With your foot up on the barrel.
Yep.
Shotgun.
Okay. And of course, to make the review complete, the Man in Black.
Yep.
As portrayed by
Ed Harris.
Freaking brilliant.
Yep. You can't deny Ed Harris.
It almost seemed like he was tapping into the character that he played in A Beautiful Mind. You know, the FBI guy that was made up in the dude's mind. But he's got this level of mysteriousness to him that, okay, I've been playing this game for 30 years. I love how he refers to it as a game.
Yeah.
When
to him it's
most
a game.
people are going into it as an experience. And that's the thing, actually, when you brought this up earlier, that's what I wanted to get into is the setting. Because like we were talking about with GTA, Los Santos, a.k.a. Los Angeles, is the setting. And like you said, that doesn't... It kind of lends you to acting a certain way. Well, okay, so they chose the Wild West. And not just any Wild West. This is a particular time where you're coming into town on a train, riding the rails type of thing. So... It's progressed to a certain point, but there's still a lot. And I mean, we get to see the scope. We get an idea, when they're riding their horses out across the range and all that stuff. Untamed, wide open.
Looks
you
like
can do
hundreds of
anything.
miles.
I mean, the environment just welcomes you to do anything.
Yeah.
Literally under the sun. So, I mean, when we think about the Wild West, we call it wild because it wasn't, from our perspective now, as civilized, right? So, you're going to be lent to, oh, you got a problem with me, let's take this outside and shoot the guy. Is that really how it all went down?
Yeah, no, I think if they wanted to make it really realistic, they should probably have half the people there have dysentery and cholera. Like a bunch of the hosts walking around, coughing into handkerchiefs. I got the consumption. But,
I got the black lung
TB.
pop. Yeah, exactly.
I got TB.
Well, yeah, the hookers are pretty good. I mean, they did not borrow from the sets of what was it, Deadwood? Because they tried to make that way more realistic with the hookers. They weren't near as clean.
Yeah, no. Well, in Deadwood,
they were visited by doctors every week.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Deadwood was filmed pretty much. I don't know where they found the location for that because it was like perpetual dust storm.
True.
Wasn't it? I mean, I don't think there was any scene that didn't involve dust and dirt whipping through the air.
And again, you can't really compare the two. Yeah, they're both on HBO, but I don't think. No, I don't know, and that's. I mean, I don't think I've even said this yet. Most people are gonna, at face value, take this as a sci-fi western.
Yeah,
and it's not.
No,
I mean, you could try to bill it that way, but there's so much more to it. It's a damn onion.
Yeah,
it's got layers.
Yeah,
that are gonna be peeled.
Oh, yeah, that's just. It's not something like I've got to get probably 3-4 episodes into this before I hope they begin breaking off or forking any more in the plot, because it's going to take me 3-4 episodes to get these plot threads all ingrained in, because I mean, you're dealing with Anthony Hopkins' character,
God,
who's playing God, but sort of like he's. Well, like, that's sort of his role, but it doesn't seem like he wants it, really.
Yeah. See, I'm probably going to have to look up actors' names.
And he doesn't.
Then you got BD.
Yeah, there's...
He's like the devil's advocate, because he looks up to Anthony Hopkins as, like, a role model or...
Father figure-ish. Not so much, maybe.
Mentor type of thing. And while he appreciates... what he's doing, and I just I love the back and forth between them, because Anthony Hopkins is like, are you looking for the problem, or are you
embarrassed by the answer?
You know what the answer is, and he's like, well, yeah, it's your flipping reveries that you put in that's screwing everything up. And he's like, and the whole conversation of, is it screwing it up, or is it lending to the lifelike aspects of it, or all whatever.
Yeah. Which ends in him saying, I'm not going to fix it.
Right.
Really. He's like, these are mistakes.
And he's like, okay, cool. I mean, this is your world. So, yeah, I kind of see him as, and while I called Anthony Hopkins God, he kind of plays the part of devil's advocate. Because he's like, I know this is not exactly right, but I am very curious to see where it goes as well. Because the whole episode starts out with him questioning. I don't even know if we can call her our protagonist yet.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if she's the hero of the story. Dolores.
Yeah, Dolores.
But yeah, it starts out with him.
It kind of seems that way by the end.
Well, the first time you're introduced to her, she has blood on her face.
Yes, but that was a flashback, because you find out later on that and then the lines repeated. It's all whenever she gets spoken some her father speaks to her and says some more Shakespeare or whatever, and she at that point is whenever she gets shut down, falls down on Ted, gets the blood on her face. Then they wheel her downstairs, strip her down, and then you find out the initial monologue, the narration at the beginning was the conversation that she was having downstairs with the guy and the girl in the repair room.
Now, what's the point of having to treat them like Barbie dolls?
I don't know.
I grew up with 5 sisters.
Right.
Not all big Barbie doll enthusiasts, but it seems like whenever you were around girls that had a collection of Barbie dolls, they would oftentimes throw them into a basket or whatever they kept their toys in without their clothes. Because, it's not human. So is that what they're trying to do by having them fully disrobed, or are they just looking for imperfections? That was one of the questions I asked, because some people are going to look at this and be like, why all the nudity?
Well,
but it's honestly in there for a reason, right?
Yeah, I think it's in there because, and the majority of it is downstairs because, yes, they're treating them like robots, so they don't believe that once you get underground, like up top, it's all bets off. But once you go underground, the people who work there, they are, desexualized. They are a thing,
Right.
not a object of desire or lust. To them, it's like, it'd be like working on their Toyota at home.
Mm-hmm.
Changing the oil, got to clean the clean the wiper blades off because there's grit underneath it.
I
And
can appreciate a Toyota that runs for 15 years without problems.
Well, that's what these robots are running
pretty.
like 30, according to them. What's Dolores is running 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
But going back there to Ed Harris's Man in Black, though.
Yes.
I wonder how long has he been going there? Has he been going there the full 30 years?
Yeah.
He's been going there 30 years, which means he's had a fixation on this lady potentially for 30 years.
Well, he knows Teddy as well.
Right, he knows Ted is as well, but, like he says, I don't ever understand why they paired some of you off.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, is that something that they added Ted later on? For a while it was just Dolores, and he got fixated on her, and then when they paired her off, maybe that's why he doesn't like Ted so much, because, you know what I mean? Ted's encroaching on his property.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
he's turned it into a game, but also, does he know Anthony Hopkins' character? If he's gone there that long, and given him that much money, he's been going there 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he got like some VIP. You know what I mean? Like later on, are we going to find out that Ed Harris's character, the Man in Black, and Anthony Hopkins' character may know each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if he's come there 30 years, they didn't say that. I don't think they outright. Maybe I'm not remembering that, but I don't think they ever outright said. He said he's been coming there 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Other people refer to how much money they had to spend. Ed Harris never does.
No.
So does he just get, I'm the VP of Disneyland, so I get to go to Disneyland for free? You know what I mean? Like, they've never,
I'm
they
Michael
didn't
Eisner.
show. Yeah, like it's Michael Eisner,
Yeah.
Disney, I don't know you don't know his life outside of this character.
Mm-hmm.
But he's clearly been there since day one.
That's why I don't think he's playing a character. But I think as he's been written, I mean, from a writer's standpoint, you put him in black for a reason.
Right.
Most people associate, especially in a cowboy movie.
Oh yeah,
The hero's
spaghetti
wearing,
western.
Yeah, the hero's wearing a white hat.
Mm-hmm.
The villain's wearing a black hat.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Again, the slow burn of it all. I don't think everything that's presented, and I mean, if you're telling a good story, everything that you present isn't going to be, you'll let people make their assumptions. But is he going to end up being the villain?
Well, because
He's calling it a game. He's obviously looking for something. He's obviously on a... What am I looking for? He's on a journey
quest.
of discovery type of thing.
Well, the hero's journey.
Could be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It could be. I don't know.
I was reading something not too long ago that was saying, that's, the hero's journey. In some
Is a book.
as though not ends with, but at least has some point where, the hero's doing what he thinks is right, but upon reflection is like, is what I'm doing
You
actually
made
right?
So many mistakes.
Is
Right.
what I'm doing right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times in media and throughout history, the hero, to win the day, has to defeat the bad guy, which 98% of the time involves murder.
Right. Yeah.
And so you're like, well, I'm the good guy, and he's all honorable and upstanding, and in the end still has to commit murder in most stories to win.
I just watched a movie the other day, and I thought to myself, yeah, by the end of it all, you have the good guys who just went off and killed like a dozen people, go to work the next day like, oh, I didn't just commit manslaughter, because it was for the good or something. What freaking movie was that? Oh, it was the latest Jack Reacher. Jack Reacher, where he's not worried about consequences. He's not worried about what's right or wrong. He's going to do it because he feels and thinks it's right.
Yeah.
So he's going to beat the crap out of 5 guys.
Right.
and everything's right as rain.
Well,
By the end of the movie, everybody gets to go back to their jobs, and it's like, real world doesn't really work like that.
No.
Because we have lawyers. We have due process.
Yep.
But for those movies, you got to suspend belief.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
And I don't understand why. I personally don't understand why so much entertainment and media it just feels obligated to. Okay, well, let me redact that a little bit. I understand why so much of media and entertainment requires everything in the end to be wrapped up with a bow on it.
Yeah.
And it's because people want it. I know I like things because I like stories that are realistic in that at the end of the story that you're being told, it's not the end. You know what I mean? Like, life goes on because that's what happens. As much as you may want the hero, in the book to, truck through and save the princess, and at the end, everybody's happy. But in real life, people die all the time.
Yeah.
I'll die. And the day after...
I won't, but yeah,
the day after, thanks to denial, I'm immortal. Philip J. Fry. But the next day, the sun rises and 1 billion, or 7 billion other people go on about their day. So I like, stories where in the end, it's not the end, and there are stories like that out there, and I like those.
Yeah.
And whenever I begin talking about them, I've had multiple people express that they don't like those because there wasn't a good ending to it. And whenever I brought that up, like, there wasn't a good ending to it, they're like, yeah, in the end, like, you don't know exactly what's going on. Like, the old Sopranos cut to black in the middle of the sentence. Man, people were mad by that.
Oh, yeah.
But I like that because, well, it implies that the story goes on. This is the bit we wanted to tell you. Hope you enjoyed it. But it's not the end of everything.
But see, and to me, this is the whole 30 frames per second versus the 60 frames per second. And you know what I'm talking about with film and movies. People couldn't handle 60 frames per second with The Hobbit. It didn't look right. It didn't look right because it didn't look right, or it didn't look right because your brain's been conditioned to only view something that's passing by at 29, 0.97 frames per second.
29 or 24 frames per second.
And that's the same issue that you're talking about. Human beings, everybody have been conditioned to expect and need closure when it comes to a story. But no, I'm the same way. I believe that if you're going to tell a good story, you really got to leave a lot to the assumptions. I mean, come on, most of the better horror or scary movies are the ones where you have a concept that your mind has built up. Jaws, come on, you saw that when you were a kid. First time you see the fin, it's like, dang, that's kind of a big looking fin. By the end of the movie, the thing's gigantic because in your mind it's been built to be bigger. And if you're going to tell your story, and like you were saying, it's just, this is all I had to tell of it, these characters continue on. I mean, what kind of closure are you looking for? Them dying? Is that the closure you need? Or you just want them to be married happily ever after? Oh my gosh, it doesn't work that way.
No.
I mean, if you're going after realism, relationships are a lot of work.
Yep. Yeah, and that's why people like their mass media and their entertainment like that, because it's an escape. And while
From reality.
Which is why I like science fiction. I love science fiction. I love horror, comedy. And what's funny though is that, like, I can watch things like that. Like, I could watch, the new Star Trek movie, or I could go watch, like that. What was that? That sci-fi movie that we were just looking at. The Ghost in the Shell. Well, like the Ghost in the Shell. But the other one too, like the City of a Thousand Planets or whatever.
Yeah.
That one.
I cannot remember the name.
There's like any of those. I can go and watch those. Total.
You suspend
belief and be completely entertained by it. Or RoboCop. Love RoboCop. Ridiculous. It's supposed to be ridiculous, and I love it.
Detroit doesn't have cyborgs?
As it turns out.
That sucks.
Although that was an accurate portrayal in terms of environment. The place is desolate.
True. It's so wasteland. Filthy. Poor people of Detroit.
An industrial wasteland. I'm sorry. Sorry, Detroit. But
I've been to Chicago. It's not that great either.
I've been to Chicago. I went to Westworld in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked it.
Mm.
I like Chicago. Downtown Chicago, Michigan Street, great place. They got Giordano's Pizza.
They have some of the best antiquing in the nation. I will give them that.
Antique, like were they?
Antiquing.
Okay.
Go buy old crap that nobody needs for way overpriced. Sorry.
Yeah. But go back and watch, or I watch any science fiction, and it's like I can flip the switch, suspend belief, be completely entertained, love it, and it's over and done.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to sit down at some point and watch like a romantic comedy, and watch like a romantic comedy. Huh?
You said want to?
Anytime I do.
No, go ahead.
Anytime I do watch like a romantic comedy or anything like that, those frustrate the hell out of me. Because I can't suspend belief on those because it's simply a relationship between two people. There's nothing that requires me to suspend belief.
Yeah.
These two people are not behaving like people do.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is like a psycho.
Usually,
just in terms of that's why they fall apart. And I get so frustrated by those. Like if you say Lifetime comes on, and I've gotten to the point now
the channel?
The channel Lifetime comes on and there's a movie on, and I see that this is the Lifetime channel. You see the little logo down in the corner. Yeah. I walk in, I see that, and my immediate question is that I ask aloud is
even if you're the only one in the room.
I had like this perfect laundry list I used to run down. I'm like, why did the guy leave? Mm-hmm. Was it another woman? Mm-hmm. What's the lady sick and dying from? Mm-hmm. And how's she going to get better? And I get thrown, thrown at me. You're like because I've just they have a cookie cutter formula for those movies.
Oh yeah, what part of your life fell apart that leads you on this path of self discovery of how can I be a better person or realize that?
Oh, and also is the man that she's talking to the one that she's going to wind up with, or the one that's mistreating her that she's going to leave?
Oof.
Because those are the staples. If there's a lady on the screen and she looks sad or extremely happy, she's the protagonist. Mm-hmm. The only remaining question is that guy she's talking to the one she's going to wind up with, or the one that's telling her that her cooking is bad and staying and working long hours at the office and just generally ignoring her existence is what it usually amounts to. Usually her 9 times out of 10 it's not like a horrible situation. It's just that the guy she's with is ignoring her existence. So blows her off. Hey, I got these tickets to go to the theater, and he's like, oh, I can't tonight, babe. I got we're working triple duty on this legal case. And he's always rich. He's always filthy rich.
Oh, of course.
He's like a lawyer or a surgeon who doesn't have time for her. And the guy that just treats her, like a princess is like, a cowboy or, a mechanic or a photographer or an actor. He's in the arts.
Yeah.
Doesn't have much money, but he's a way better person.
Most artsy guys are more in touch with their feelings.
That's how, like if you go back to, like in the Westworld, like how is that going to, people's expectations, are we gonna head that direction in it? Because right now, it doesn't exactly seem like it.
Yeah, I vote no because I really think it's setting up for. There's all this underlying stuff. Like I said, you're going to start peeling back the onion and find that it's something else.
Yeah,
and I don't even want to speculate on what the something else is yet. But I mean, I'm my curiosity in the pilot is piqued by this awareness. You got this AI, this artificial intelligence that's becoming more aware by tapping into those past lives or memories and starting to question. And that, to me, has always been one of the better journeys of any character. When they start questioning their environment. And that's what, sends them on their journey to want to discover what else is out there, what more is there, type of thing. So I think it's being crafted in that respect very well.
Yeah, if there's one of my old like 90s favorite science fiction movies was this movie called Dark City, which I really liked. I loved it at the time because I hadn't watched anything else like that. Whenever you get to the twists and you, as the plot sort of serpentines around, you get to the end and you're like, oh man, that no spoilers, I guess, but whenever you get down to the end, it's you go, oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know how it holds up. Maybe today's audiences are a little more scrutinizing. Like, it may not be as
that's
like elusive. You know what I mean? Like the plot twist.
Yeah.
Just because in my old age I've gotten out of the point where sometimes I have to actively shut my mind off while I'm watching movies and entertainment because I can't. I start thinking about it and then I'm like, I'm going to figure out what's going on. Like the M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. No lie, I was 20 minutes into that film and went, god dang it, what if it takes place in present time?
Right.
And then for the next hour and a half, I just sat there just worming in the chair going, oh god, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And the last hour and 15 minutes of the entire rest of that movie was just ruined.
Yeah.
It's like, and then whenever they showed it, I was like, thank God, can we get out of here now?
Yeah, no, some people don't enjoy watching movies with me because they're like, oh my gosh, did you know that was going to happen? Did you not hear me when I whispered to you? Hey, check that out. It's like they just totally foreshadowed that. It's gonna happen.
If we go to the movies together, I'm gonna need at least 3 seats between you and me, because I'm sitting over there just willing my brain to shut off. Like, God, no, I don't want to see this coming. I just want to enjoy it.
Yeah, no, it was the worst for me after taking a writing course in college and literally reading a book called The Hero's Journey to see the patterns and devices that are used to tell a story, and then it's like, oh, well, plot progression wise, it's naturally going to go this way. And even if you try to mind screw me and have it go pivot another direction, well, it's going to end up here then, So it doesn't matter how many times you pivot, eventually you're going to get to either something that surprises you, but at the same time you're waiting for it. You're waiting for it to surprise you. And then if it doesn't, you're left kind of like, and that's what I'm really hoping doesn't happen with this series.
Yeah,
honestly.
I'm hoping they can, if they do anything like that for me, I hope it's way less of a Shyamalan's The Village and way more of a Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, it's a slow burn though.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
because they've taken so much time to craft it and set it up in the pilot that I don't know. We'll watch episode 2 and see how much more they burn on the wick.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, hopefully it's. I think they could go. Man, they could go quite a while with this.
Oh, and that's usually the point when you're in a Cheryl.
At least Game of Thrones.
5 or 6 seasons. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, it could be like Breaking Bad, where they go in writing 3. and then they come out with 6 because the shareholders are like, you got to keep this
Dude,
rolling.
we love this character. Come on, do something.
They wound up getting 6 out of it, and a good 6.
But see, in this one, we have immortal characters. You could have somebody die and come back. I mean, you could have somebody be a complete dirty, filthy, rotten scoundrel and have him come back as Father Alejandro of the
just to
Church
upload
out
a
in
new
the desert.
profile to him.
Obviously, they've all had that past lives,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you will.
Yeah.
I hope nobody ever brings up reincarnation for as a analogy of the hosts, because come on.
Yeah.
Did I just do that? No. I hope nobody ever does.
No.
But anyways, well, do you want to check and see how your recording is?
Yeah.
Or is it just going to keep going?
Oh.